Hey there, what you gonna cook for dinner this week? Don't you worry, I got you covered. I'm gonna be showing you some delicious meals that my entire family enjoys. I love falling back on these recipes because they're pretty simple to throw together and they are delicious. So I hope you enjoy this video today, and let's head to my kitchen and let's start cooking. We're gonna begin today with this garlic butter chicken and asparagus. So I have two medium-sized chicken breasts right here that I sliced in half horizontally so it appears as four. I'm just going to place them in my large pan. I just have a couple tablespoons of some hot olive oil in that pan. And I'm going to season the chicken on both sides with a little bit of some paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper. You're gonna wanna cook this chicken completely through. Well, we do have our chicken cooking away. I'm going to begin on our asparagus. So I have about a pound of it right here. I just trimmed off the woody ends. Now I'm cutting it into bite-sized pieces. This next step is optional, but I do like my asparagus a little bit on the more tender side. So I placed it in a microwave-safe bowl with a couple tablespoons of water, and I'm going to microwave it for about a minute just to get it to start softening up. Now that my chicken's all cooked up, I'm just going to remove it to a separate plate and set this plate to the side. To begin on the sauce now, I'm going to be adding a half a cup of some chicken broth to my pan, along with 1 tablespoon of butter, a couple cloves of some minced garlic. To give it some extra flavor, I'm adding about half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and just a little shake of some crushed red pepper flakes and a half of a lemon. You're going to whisk this all together and let it simmer for about a minute or two. It's time to add our asparagus in, so I just added that in. I'm going to stir everything together and let the asparagus cook in this delicious sauce for about 2 to 3 minutes, or until it's at the tenderness that you like it to be. Now I'm just going to be adding our cooked chicken in there and let everything simmer for about a minute or two, then it's ready to serve. Here's the finished product. This meal is absolutely fabulous and it came together in no time at all. You could serve this with whatever you want to serve it with: mashed potatoes, egg noodles, quinoa, or rice. I personally served this with some couscous and my family really enjoyed it, even my little toddler Brinley. Now we're making some broccoli, carrot, and beef lo mein. This has to be one of my all-time favorite lo mein recipes. It is just so simple to make. So after I cut my broccoli up into smaller pieces, I just set it to the side. And now I have about 1 pound of some flank steak. You want to cut the flank steak against the grain, and you really do want to cut it as thin as possible. I always find when I cut my flank steak for these type of recipes super duper thin, it comes out best in the end. Now we're going to begin on the sauce. This sauce makes this recipe so amazing. So in this bowl, I just added 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of reduced sodium soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of some fresh ground ginger and a little shake of pepper. Whisk this all together. To this large pot of some boiling water, you're going to want to either add in 8 ounces of lo mein noodles or spaghetti noodles. I use spaghetti noodles because that's what I have on hand. When those spaghetti noodles only had about 5 minutes left of cooking, I added in our cut up broccoli, and I'm going to let the broccoli soften. Over to my Dutch oven, I have about 2 tablespoons of some hot olive oil in there. I just added my steak. I'm going to cook this steak completely through. I am cooking it on a higher heat just so it is nice and tender in the end. So now that my steak is cooked, I just added 1 cup of shredded carrots along with a few cloves of minced garlic. I'm going to cook this all together for about 1 to 2 minutes. A couple minutes later, now my garlic is fragrant and I just added in our drained spaghetti noodles and broccoli. I'm also adding in the sauce that we made up. I'm going to stir this all together and let the sauce thicken and let everything combine, and then it is ready to serve. Here's my lo mein. I just served mine with some sesame seeds on top. When I say you really gotta make this, I am not joking. It is so, so delicious. If you're not a steak fan, you could replace the steak with shrimp or chicken, whatever you care for. This meal is just so flavorful. Now we're making some blackened tilapia. This is one of my favorite ways to make tilapia. We're going to start on the seasoning first. In this little bowl, I just added a teaspoon of garlic powder. Next, just a dash of some salt and pepper, teaspoon and a half of some paprika, teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of cumin, and 1.5 teaspoons of some brown sugar. Stir this little seasoning mixture all together. I have 3 medium-sized tilapia fillets right here. I'm coating them on each side with that blackened seasoning that we made. I am pressing the seasoning down on the fish just to ensure that it doesn't fall off. I do want to let you know, if you don't want to use tilapia for this recipe, any other white fish would go fabulous for this recipe. The seasoning would just go super duper well on it. You could either pan fry your tilapia or cook it in the oven, whatever your preference is. I chose to pan fry mine today. I have a tablespoon of melted butter and olive oil in my pan that's hot. I added our tilapia and I cooked it for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. Here's my plate of food. That seasoning combination on the tilapia was spot on, perfect. I served this alongside of a side salad and then some of this suddenly salad. I really enjoy making suddenly salad, especially when it gets warmer outside. You could never go wrong with an Italian sausage pasta night, so that's what we're making. In my Dutch oven, I have a tablespoon of hot olive oil. I'm adding 1 pound of some mild Italian sausage to it. I'm just removing the casings right now. You could use any type of sausage you like for this recipe though. After I am through adding my sausage in, I'm just going to cook it completely through. While our sausage is cooking, I'm going to boil up our 12 ounces of noodles right here in this pot. You could use any type of noodle you like. Once your sausage is cooked, you're going to want to remove any of the excess grease and then add a couple cloves of minced garlic, 1 diced up white onion, and you're going to cook this for about 2 minutes. After those 2 minutes of cooking, you're going to add about 28 ounces of some Italian style petite diced tomatoes and then 1.5 cups of some heavy whipping cream. Stir this together and let it simmer on your stove for about 5 minutes. This part is optional, but I am adding in about 2 cups of some fresh chopped spinach. I'm going to let the spinach wilt down and then add in our noodles that we cooked and drained, give it one last good stir, and then it's ready to serve. Here's the finished product. Of course, I just sprinkled it with some fresh basil and Parmesan cheese on top. I served it alongside of a side salad. This pasta dish was super duper flavorsome, and it did make for some great leftovers for the next day. Now we're making some creamy garlic lemon pork chops. In my pan right here, I have a tablespoon of melted butter and a tablespoon of some hot olive oil. I just added my 5 pork chops in, and you're going to want to season these pork chops with a little bit of some salt and pepper on each side and cook these pork chops through. Now that my pork chops are finished cooking, I removed them to a separate plate. I'm going to set the plate to the side. To begin on the sauce, I added 2 tablespoons of butter to my pan with about 4 cloves of minced garlic. I'm going to whisk this together until the garlic becomes fragrant. Now that it is fragrant, add in 1 tablespoon of some regular white all-purpose flour and let the flour become a nice golden color. Now I'm adding in 1/2 cup of chicken broth and 1/2 of a lemon. Whisk this together so the flour is no longer clumpy. Now that my sauce is starting to thicken up, I'm going to go ahead and add the last few ingredients in. Just about 1/4 teaspoon of some garlic powder, 3/4 cup of some heavy whipping cream. Whisk this together and then add back in your pork chops. Let the pork chops warm through, and then this is ready to serve. Here's the finished product. This brings pork chops to a whole new level. You could serve this with pretty much anything you want. Rice, mashed potatoes. I happen to serve mine with some egg noodles and a side salad. That is it for today. I hope you found a recipe that you might be able to make for yourself. If you liked this video today, make sure you subscribe down below the video so you could see more, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.